We are live.
Good morning, live stream.
Good morning, streamers.
We're about to go live on the radio too, so you're in a holding pattern. Good morning, Philadelphia, and everywhere else via the live stream. I'm Kevin O'Brien. I'm with Wayne Middleton, and this is the SMB Acceleration Show. Everybody, welcome to the first show of the decade. It's going to be an amazing one. Before we get into today's show, remember, if you miss anything this morning on a radio broadcast or live stream, you can catch the podcast anywhere podcasts are found or on our website, SMBAcceleration.com. We have a great show ahead today. We're going to be building on last week's show and get small business owners ready to accelerate their business growth in 2020. Even more amazing is our guest coming up later today around 8:30. So be sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss it. One last thing I want to cover before I turn it over and check with Wayne on how his drive-in was is remember to tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. We're here, we're live, and we're ready to help you accelerate your small business. Wayne, how's it going this morning?
Hey everyone, today's going well. It was an easy commute in. I left a little earlier, which helped. We had about an inch and a half of snow up in Allentown too. So
an inch and a half? No shit, kidding.
The roads were clear, so it was plain sailing all the way. So I was pretty pleased.
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, it makes it a whole lot easier when the snow is, kind of clear and you're not fighting to get through it.
Absolutely. Again, it was good that I think they had the plows out early and got everything cleared away. All good stuff.
Nice. I mean, just about enough to go out and make some snowballs, huh?
Yeah, just about.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I kind of teased it on the intro, but do we want to let everybody know about our guest today?
Ooh, I don't know. Yes.
Just make them tune in and wait and listen. All right, so we're going to have Wendy Saltzman with us later today. If you've been listening to the show, we've been kind of teasing this over the last couple weeks. Wendy is an absolute superstar. She started up Channel 6's Investigative Bureau. She's had over 23 years in broadcasting, including winning 3 Emmys. And she's going to come in today and help everyone get started with small business video. Honestly, this is something you don't want to miss. She's going to be on right around 8:30, so be sure you're tuned in then. And if you're not driving, get a pen and paper. Definitely some great tips for getting started with video. All right, before we get into it today, how about the news?
Yeah, there's been a lot of news around, but I know there's one that's really close to your heart right now, which is the whole Planet Fitness issues.
Yes, so I was telling Wayne off air that I was watching, I think it was the Dick Clark New Year's Eve special, and Planet Fitness was one of the big sponsors. And I was kind of sitting there, and I guess anytime I see an advertising campaign, I'm kind of interested in what they're doing. And 2, I was probably complaining to my wife that I really need to get back to the gym and, kind of exercise with the new year.
Yeah, those dreaded New Year's resolutions, huh?
Exactly.
I think I've already broken mine.
I haven't even started mine, so.
I started. It finished early.
But yeah, so I was... see, Planet Fitness is the sponsor. They keep running, a promo. I think it was, I don't even know what it was, 20 cents sign up, free month, something. So as I was sitting there, in commercial breaks or in between doing things, I was kind of looking at my phone. I was like, oh, you know what? Let me take a look where the nearest one is near some of our clients. In case, I know where the one by my house is, but I wanted to know where a couple other ones were about, like, kind of work it into my week, see if it would happen. So I started searching, NYE, Planet Fitness, and one, I don't even get an ad. All I was expecting was like an ad to take me to a landing page that said, hey, this is the special, this is why you should sign up, and
giving you a little bit more detail, a little bit more context around what you're trying to look for, yeah.
Exactly, because I kept seeing, they kept trying to push you to make a text message, which was a genius on air.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to do that. I was ready to kind of do a little exploration on the offer itself. And so I, Google, start, searching Planet Fitness New Year's Eve, nothing comes up. Then all of a sudden, a few things down, I find the Planet Fitness rings in the new year as the official fitness sponsor of Times Square. And I was like, oh, perfect. This is what I'm kind of looking for. This probably explains the whole offer and everything.
Yeah.
Well, it takes me to the newsroom section of the Planet Fitness website, which even topped this off. In order to actually read it, it takes me off their website.
Oh, so you left their website in order to read news about
them.
Planet Fitness. Oh, interesting. That's a novel approach.
I thought the same thing, and it took me to some like fitness industry kind of publication.
Okay.
And now I'm like, well, I'm not even on their website anymore. You've completely lost me. My, not that my 20 cents matters, but I'm sure there was more people than just me who felt the same way.
Wow. For a brand the size of Planet Fitness, I think we can all rest safe in our beds now that even the big brands make mistakes. And this is definitely one of those opportunities that, great promotion, great push at right time of year. It's definitely when gym memberships accelerate at this time of year because everyone does want to get fitter and healthier, at least in January. Whether it lasts longer, who knows? But it'll last a lot longer if you can actually sign up for it. If you can't actually sign up for it, oh dear. Yeah.
It was definitely one of those where then I got to their website and there was no banner. I didn't even find a landing page that said, hey, we're running this great New Year's Eve promotion. We're running it in Times Square. If you're looking for information, I was just blown away.
That is crazy. And there was no follow-up text or anything like that with
I didn't text them because I was so frustrated with not finding the information I wanted that I was like, well, I'm not that interested.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, I mean, strategically, they kind of missed the boat. They expected, I would assume, people to text in and then send a link, probably through text, to a landing page, I would assume.
Yes.
But again, without knowing that, I don't know. But they still missed a massive opportunity for, not everyone's going to send a text in to something they see on TV. We're not all that comfortable with it, really. So people like Kevin and myself, in all honesty, would start Googling and we'd try to find where that promotion is. But clearly they took a strategy that possibly was just mobile focused.
Could be.
But either way, it's a little bit of a miss.
I completely agree. I have to say, though, I've been getting retargeted by a lot of fitness ads, though.
Yeah.
Like you pointed out, it's that time of year.
It is.
It's funny, yesterday I got 2 local ones I saw on Facebook, and they kind of hit both sides of really good and then really bad. The one I actually ended up signing up for, I haven't followed up, but I'll give you a little bit about the automation. So it was a Facebook lead gen ad. Everything was explained in it, and it was just, your information's pre-filled, book this thing.
Okay.
Now, there must be a big thing in the fitness world of getting people on these very cheap couple weeks startup like sessions and all. And it was great. And it said, when you fill this out, this person, and I'll actually give a shout out, the business was Anytime Fitness in Villanova was running the ad. And it was, click this ad and this person is going to text you.
Okay.
And, 2 minutes later, you get the first text. There was a follow-up one about 30 minutes later. Great job. I thought it was well done. And I saw another local fitness franchise kind of thing do it. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll see their same, automation sequence, see how it works. And that one gave you less information in the ad. And when I wanted to go to more information, it wasn't easy to get there.
Interesting. So you had the good and the bad. Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And both of them, in my opinion, were both better than Planet Fitness.
Well, yeah, that wouldn't be difficult because they just didn't. They missed.
And they didn't even retarget me.
Yeah, and well, exactly. I mean, not to be retargeted, having done all this searching about Planet Fitness through New Year's, why are you not getting retargeted? You should be getting hammered.
Yeah, I would have thought like I would have seen it on Twitter or some Facebook ads or something, but nothing. It was one of those times where you just kind of shake your head and you're like, well, the brand did spend, obviously. I mean, being the sponsor for Times Squares, I'm sure not cheap.
Oh no, yeah, no, big dollars for that kind of
exposure. We're talking 7-8 figures, right?
Yeah, running ads, anything that time of year is just insane. Wow, Planet Fitness has fallen into a black hole.
With that one, I have to say I was less than impressed. And I actually then saw, I guess as part of the fitness thing, I was telling you that I got retargeted for a Southern California Spartan race.
Interesting. So you're going to SoCal anytime soon?
No, I haven't even actually searched any plane tickets or anything of the sort. So I don't. I thought that I was like, did somebody just forget to put in like the geolocation?
Yeah, so they're spending their dollars probably went pretty quick. I will say at least it was relevant.
Yeah.
It wasn't geolocated, but at least it was relevant based on your search. So that was good.
Yeah, and I mean, I like how they told me where it was.
Yeah, and give you a link to sign up. How cunning.
Absolutely.
And then I happened to notice you carried on with your searching, and this I think is really good to hear. Is like these smaller companies, these local businesses are really starting to adapt and take on board some like leverage new technologies. So you pointed out Lionheart Tutoring.
Yeah, it's
based
a local.
in Bryn Mawr, right?
It is. It is in Bryn Mawr, and actually, my daughter goes there, and I've really always been super impressed with, how they operate their business. Dan, the owner, is outstanding, and he was just running, I'm guessing him or his marketing team or whoever was running this ad, which I thought was really interesting. The ad is would you say medieval picture, like a medieval?
Yeah, it looks like, being English, it looks like a medieval court session where the king is on his throne looking down at the peons.
Yes. And the ad is, congratulations to our early decision applicants, who had earned, early acceptance into college. And then it goes on the ad to list the colleges they've been accepted to.
Nice.
And it's really good. And the ad was running both on Facebook and Instagram.
Same ad, same.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I thought, what a great job by a local business owner of getting the word out. Great. The imagery actually made me stop. They had that kind of like pattern interruption because it's something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I like that. And again, kudos to a local business. And guys, if you're running a small business, these little tips, these little insights, these little techniques that people are using, they're not difficult to set up. They're not very expensive for the most part. Like, don't fall into the Planet Fitness issue and try some things. It's worth experimenting. If you just, if you're careful with it and you dedicate a small amount of budget to it, you can start doing some retargeting. You can start doing some of these really nice little sponsored promotions through your social media channels. And that's not only going to help build your brand, but it's going to get a lot more customers in your door.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I guess my last example I shared with you was the Stevia ad.
Yeah.
Which I actually just saw during the broadcast after, I think it was during the Golden Globes. I think that came on right after the football game.
Okay.
And I didn't change the channel when I was walking by. And Stevia did an amazing, I guess it looks like from the time it was uploaded to YouTube that it was about, September? So it's a couple months old, but they're probably pushing it. I guess I don't watch enough TV. So
again, it's a healthier, beginning of the new year, you want to start eating healthier, better diet, yada, yada, yada. So the timing is probably about right.
Yep.
In terms of that type of ad. But I won't steal your thunder. All I'm going to say is it's going to go on our blog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create a blog post try to do it every month if I can, of best and worst ads that we've seen. I think that'd be really
that would be outstanding. I would completely agree that there is definitely an issue with terrible ads. And on the flip side, great ad like this one, which is kind of somewhat of newsjacking, I think.
Yeah.
It has that element. So the ad is all about people growing their own stevia. And they kind of play off the legalization and, all the news around that and different states with and it ties in with the new year, new laws. And it's all about these different people in all walks of life growing stevia in their house and playing off of like people having to previously do it, I guess, illegally.
Yeah.
And the ad ends with a couple of older ladies on a porch using their grown stevia to make sweet tea.
Yeah, it is absolutely hilarious. It's worth watching. You can substitute stevia for whatever you would like, but I think that play off of what's going on in the world right now, so with the legalization of certain substances, this is a great little nod to that and a cheeky way of getting their own ideas across. For those of you who didn't know, stevia is actually a plant-based sugar. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of interesting. Definitely check it out.
No, I agree. So, free shout out to Stevia for and whoever their ad company was for actually awesome work.
Ad. Yeah.
So let's see. In the news, what else do we have? There's some interesting survey done by the Federal Reserve banks, and it showed, it was a look at businesses with less than 500 employees, which the Federal Reserve Bank for this study considered small business. So, which is basically, it's at what, 99.7% of all businesses, like private sector employees, I guess, employers. And so the really good news out of it, Wayne, was 57% of small businesses reported that they experienced revenue growth, and then a lot of them, like about a third, said they had added people to the payroll.
That's awesome.
I guess the downside of this study was a lot of them didn't feel like they had increased profitability, though.
Yeah, and that's the challenge, right? You can get your revenues, you can increase your, honestly, increasing your workforce is not really that difficult. Keeping it, maintaining it, and then being profitable are definitely challenging.
Absolutely, it is. It really is another level of challenge for.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me cringe just thinking about it, to be honest. But I mean, it's great to hear that small businesses are being successful, especially it makes up so much of the US marketplace right now.
Absolutely, it surely does. It is kind of amazing to see. It's great that they're doing well, and I think for small business owners, part of it is sometimes accelerating your marketing growth to accommodate the new employees.
Yeah, it is. As your marketing grows, as your brand gets more recognition, it starts to get more identification. It becomes more popular. Your products sell quicker, and therefore you grow.
Absolutely. And I kind of come across something I thought was really interesting. It's not really small business owner related. I just want to touch on it real quick, and that is Mark Cuban was saying that he was asked, if you were to start a business today, what would you do? And he said that he has told his kids the same thing, that people should learn how to script Alexa and like Google Home skills.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because, I mean, the search world is being turned upside down, basically just due to voice search, with Siri, Alexa, and all these other different voice recognition search softwares that are out there. Very interesting idea. I mean, how would you even go about that? I guess that'd be the interesting thing.
I'm guessing they're all some form of JavaScript.
I would think
it's probably
so.
Some kind of
or something.
So I didn't end up looking into it, but I feel like Cuban's always got an interesting take on a lot of things.
Slightly different perspective on
things. He was saying what he was telling his kids were it's a great opportunity to use this. So like take that skill and then go around and kind of do custom Alexa setups for for neighbors.
That's awesome, and it's not that difficult to do actually. I'm sure. Give me 10 minutes.
You figure out a new skill.
I'll be able to figure it out pretty easily. So again, you could start to charge out services for that. You think about that from a small business point of view. If you're writing specific scripts that can help people find your business. Who wouldn't take that?
Or if you could, as we talked about before, even if you come up with an interesting skill, quote unquote, I guess that's what they use, right? They call them skills for Alexa. It's a way to like differentiate your business with it. Yeah. If you're I don't know, an insurance company, and you come up with a way where maybe you insure contractors and they need a lot of certificates of insurance, and they could say, "Hey Alexa, I need a certificate of insurance," and then it does it.
It's interesting. I wonder how many people would use those terms, and then this is where it all starts to get very interesting. Is like, how are people really using those platforms? Because I think for the early adopters, they've moved on, and they're used to conducting those sort of searches. But I think those people that are a little later to the game, a little technologically behind the curve, they're probably struggling to figure out what to use it for. I mean, perfect example. My kids could tell. They ask Alexa everything, and they're all so polite about it as well. So it's like, Alexa, what dress should I wear today? Alexa doesn't know. She has no idea what's in my daughter's wardrobe, but she asks it anyway, and then she says thank you at the end of it. And Alexa is so polite in how she tells her, "I do not know what's in your wardrobe." It's great.
Is that really the answer? That's awesome.
It just goes to show you the difference between an 8 or 9 year old and myself being 42 or 43, and I'm asking, okay, Alexa, how can I get to this? What's my local Whole Foods open to, and where's Home Depot? I need help with that. I'm using it for practical. My kids use it as a conversation piece. They start talking to it, and it's a way to relate.
No, it is. I could use it primarily for translation.
Yeah.
They ask it, how do you say this in Spanish?
Yeah, have they found the dad jokes one yet?
No.
Oh, that's bad. Don't do that.
No, they're really big on the. They'll figure out something and they go over and ask you how to say it in Spanish.
Wow, that's cool.
That's
the
biggest, probably the biggest use we have of it, and which is great because I don't know how most of them. I'm like, go ask Alexa.
So the other big thing for 2020 in terms of small businesses is there is a small business Saturday every week in 2020.
Yeah, I saw someone pushing it, and I think that was really is a great idea.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't know. You can go to the big box stores and get everything you need, but there is definitely something more personal about going to your local butcher or your local store and picking up something from there where they know who you are and you get to build that relationship. So, I mean, it's a great idea, and I advocate for it because I think you've got to support the small businesses as well as your big box stores.
Absolutely, especially if you want to have a downtown area of any sort. I mean, somebody has to buy from the bookstore and the coffee shop. And
there's this great bookstore in Emmaus. They do mainly kids' books, but they got a few adult books too. And it's just such a great environment to go into. You can sit and read in there for as long as you want. They've got coffee, free coffee and tea and whatever else you would like. And they carry some unusual books that you wouldn't really see in a Barnes & Noble type store. And I love that place. So, I'd rather take my kids there than Barnes & Noble, to be honest, because I'm supporting the local community and I'm helping that person build their business up.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
And I think, there's a lot said over the last 10, 15 years about the way the world is changing, the fact that we can all order offline now, it takes it more impersonal. But, if you look at the successful stores, whether they're big, small, or otherwise, what we all really crave, we're humans. We love to interact with other humans. So therefore, when you're in a store, how you feel in that store is more important than what the store is actually selling.
So true.
In order to combat e-commerce, in order to combat the Amazons of the world to some level, now let's be realistic, it's not going to go away. But if you can focus your in-store experience to be something unique, something different, something personal, it's going to elevate you above everyone else around you. And
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the great insights that I can offer any small brick and mortar store that are still promoting their brand. Make your customers come in and have an experience. And it will make a huge difference to the amount of customers you get.
Absolutely. It sure does. I mean, it really is that kind of differentiator, whereas a small business, you have to be able to differentiate yourself.
I mean, it's the only way forward, really. And a lot of the bigger brands are doing it as well. They're creating very unique experiences in their store, and it's paying off for them because people are going to the store because of the experience rather than ordering it off the internet.
Absolutely. And that kind of is coming to one of the last things I saw that I really thought was an interesting news piece, and it was about social media, and the headline of it was "Be interesting on social media." And I thought it was really, probably the way to boil it down to the simplest, advice possible is sometimes you have to be you, especially as a small business. You have to have some personality. You have to have something that differentiates yourself from the rest of, what's happening with social media and all.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think, be interesting is a very interesting way of saying it. If you've got something to say and you're unique and different, people will like or share or, comment. My wife and I had a discussion the other day about, what makes good social media. What I see these companies, they've got lots of likes and lots of likes. Well, folks, likes are not that valuable as a measurement, really. I think where us as marketers need to look at is how engaged are they? How are they sharing my posts? Are they resharing, reposting? Are they commenting on anything? And how do I get comments? Well, ask questions, be interesting, have something to provoke a response, create content that drives that engagement. Because otherwise, I could have as many likes as I want, but they're not really doing anything for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's such a great point. It really, I mean, likes in so many ways are just a vanity metric, and really kind of distract from what is going on, everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, it is interesting. It really got me thinking. And sometimes I have to say, I think myself, I'm sometimes a little too generic on social media, or try and strip out personality and all from it.
Yeah, and
just to,
I think everyone's
take a safe zone, I guess,
kind
of thing.
You stay within your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And actually kind of just being yourself on social media is it can be hard and it can be tough. I think it's quite intimidating too.
No, I agree. I think, sometimes people are hesitant to kind of just go all out and be themselves, for a number of reasons. But there definitely is something to be said for those who aren't. I mean, I think, as we talked about before, Gary Vee is definitely a good example. He kind of is himself all the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is. He's very much himself, and he stays true to that. And that's his thing for social media. I mean, if you're disingenuine, you'll be found out pretty quickly.
That's for sure.
And it can be quite brutal when you do. So be strategic, be smart, and be yourself. I mean, they're three kind of pivots that I would use for any social media channel, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. As much as you can, be yourself, be smart, and be strategic.
No, that's great. And I think that's a great advice. And, it's a great way to kind of end this. And we'll go into take a quick break. But before we do, remember, if you miss anything on the radio broadcast or live stream, you can catch the podcast on our website or anywhere podcasts are found. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Wendy Saltzman, and we're going to get you ready to start accelerating your video marketing. I'm going to keep that on. You might need to pass your video. I'm going to see if I can do this.
I don't know what's going on. We are streaming, I think.
Yeah, it's not coming through Restream now.
No.
Market properties in 2020. Then check out We Buy Real Estate Inc. We Buy Real Estate Inc. is a real estate company focused on buying and selling off-market commercial, industrial, and residential properties. Investors, stop paying retail for your real estate. From investor-friendly real estate services to helping locate off-market real estate deals, We Buy Real Estate Inc. is your Philadelphia area real estate company. For more information on their services, visit their website, WeBuyRealEstateInc.com, or give them a call at 215-987-4561. Investors, if you just want to see the inventory of off-market deals, send them an email, info@WeBuyRealEstateInc.com.
Want to promote your business or sponsor a show? Give us a call at 855-308-5825. And be sure to subscribe to our podcasts on Apple, Google, Stitcher, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Welcome to 2020. It's time to give your small business a good makeover. Why not look at a new website? Why not look at your brand and see how you're performing online? Or are you trying to grow your social media channels? SMB Acceleration Radio Show can have the answers for you. Join us as a guest or be sponsoring the show. We can help no matter what the problem. Call 855-308-3825.
All right, Philadelphia and everywhere else via the live stream, we're back and we're about to be joined by Wendy Saltzman. Wendy's a 3-time Emmy Award-winning journalist. She has over 23 years in the television news business, and back in 2012, she started her own company, Philly Power Media, which is the area's premier video production agency. Wendy and her team focus on strategic branded video content, commercial video production, personal and corporate video marketing, and social media strategy. And all of this is to help you generate some great buzz around your business. We have Wendy on to kind of talk about how you, as small business owners, can start accelerating your business in 2020. Wendy, how's it going this morning?
It is great. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here at the beginning of 2020 to talk to people about how to accelerate their business.
Absolutely. We're super excited to have you on, and we really appreciate it. I'm here with my co-host, Wayne.
Hi, Wendy. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I mean, you know, as we look into 2020, and we're all excited about what the future holds and how we can take it. What do you think's the biggest thing stopping more small business owners from using video in their marketing?
I really think that there's a lack of education about the power of video, and I think that's the biggest problem that a lot of businesses have. People, I guess, resist change, and so they're doing the same things that they've always done. However, they've normally advertised their business. That's the way they think is effective, and that's what's going to work. But what people are failing to see is the changing nature of advertising. And as we're going into 2020, the biggest trend and the buzzword is video digital marketing. And that's because it's the fastest way to reach more people. If you think about it, you can only go to so many networking events or hold so many meetings a day. But with video and on the internet, through social media, via email, you can reach thousands of people with a single video. So it's the quickest way to reach new potential clients.
I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, if you think video has revolutionized over the last few years, and people are starting to understand that, hey, I can create pretty quick videos. And I think it is a case of, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So those people that are still stuck doing the traditional kind of media, whether that's through, you know, print or TV or, you know, word of mouth, or even down to some of the display ad units, you know, video is definitely the medium that everyone needs to get into and start pushing, because it's not difficult. It's not difficult to do, especially if you work with great partners like yourself or others. You can actually achieve some great results and really accelerate your business.
Well, what I really tell my potential client to do is think about how they consume information. What are they doing? What are they watching? So let's say you walk by a billboard and it's just a picture. Or let's say you walk by a billboard and it's video. Your eye is going to be captured by video. Or when you're on your cell phone, what are you doing? Well, if you're on social media, you're probably watching videos, because that's what everybody is doing, is watching videos. So these business owners need to start thinking like consumers. They need to think about what their consumers are doing and even what they're doing and move into that space. In 2020, Gen Z is going to make up 40% of all consumers. And the way to reach those customers is through video. People just don't like reading information anymore.
Yep.
What they want to do is watch it. And you think about, like, I do a lot of videos with law firms and other people, and, you know, on their about pages when they're telling people about them, their company or themselves. And sometimes you'll read these about pages and they're long. They're these super long. And who wants to read that? No one wants to read that. But you can post a 1-minute video, and a 1-minute video is equivalent to 1.8 million words, which would be 3,600 web pages.
Yep.
So instead, use video. That's the way to reach people.
Not only is it the way to reach people, but they actually see the person, they hear you, they get that experience from you as well. It's a win-win, really, if you use it in the right way.
No, I think it's a great point.
You just said something so important. The buzzword right now is personalization.
Yeah.
Personal content. And what video does is it allows you to build a personal connection with somebody. So obviously you can't go out and meet everybody face to face, but when they get to see your face, when they get to see how you talk, you create a personal connection with that person through video. They decide, hey, are you trustworthy? And 58% of consumers trust a brand with video more than a brand without.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so it's about personalization. Customers want to think they're getting to know you, that you're giving them the content that they want, and video is the way to do that.
I couldn't agree more. And yeah, I kind of phrase it this way: you wouldn't hire someone without meeting them first. Mm-hmm. But it just wouldn't happen. So why would you buy something from someone, whether that's a service, whether that's hiring a lawyer, just by reading a bio? You're not going to do that. If you can get it through on video, you can get to the point quicker. You can meet that, virtually meet that person, and they can get a sense of who you are, how passionate you are about your subject or your skill or service product. Video is a no-brainer for me. Kev, you got a couple of questions?
Agreed, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to join you guys via video today due to other circumstances. But absolutely, when you see somebody in a video, you get a sense of who they are. Do I like this person? Would I want to work with this person? Do I trust this person? And people make snap judgments on, do I trust somebody? It's just how first impressions work. So they can see you and say, do I trust this person? Is this someone I want to do business with? And that's something that you can't get just in a written email or a written ad. You see a signature on the bottom of an email or somebody says their name on the phone. You just don't get that sense of who people are without seeing them face to face.
Absolutely.
No, I think that's an excellent point, and kind of leads into really my next question, because I know there's a lot of small business owners who completely believe that video is necessary, and I think a lot of them are hesitant to get started with video and using it in their marketing. And I think a big part of it often is they're afraid it won't look professional. And I think there's both sides to that, but I guess, Wendy, what kind of advice would you give to small business owners kind of looking to get started with video?
Well, the first thing I would say is you really need to consider return on investment. So I would say start small in terms of start with one video, start with 2 videos, start with just a couple of videos and see how those work for you and the kind of feedback that you get. Now, what you're going to see is, let's say you utilize, first let me talk about the way you can use videos. You can use videos in your email signature. I emailed you guys back and forth. You saw my video. Beneath my name, it has click here to learn about me, and there's a picture of me, and you click on it, my video pops up, and you learn about me. So you can use them in emails. You can use them across social media, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, everywhere on social media. You can use them in email campaigns. So there are so many ways, and on your website. You increase search engine optimization by 157% organically by having videos. So if you want to increase your page rankings when somebody searches, Philadelphia best podcast or business podcast, how to do that? By having videos on your website. Because Google, who bought YouTube for $1.6 billion, knows what consumers want to see as video. So by having video, they are going to increase how high you rank. If you're a company with video versus a company without, you're going to skyrocket in those search engine results. So back to your question, start small. So start with a couple of videos, see how you feel those are operating for you. But I would suggest working with a reputable company if you really want to do a branding video that's going to brand your company. Because I cannot tell you how many people I have had to go back and redo their videos because all they were thinking about was money. Was, how can I do this cheapest? And I've seen some videos that are very, very poorly done. And when you talk about first impressions, that's not what you want somebody's first impression to be of you. Now that's when it comes to a branding video. Now, if you want to do a how-to video, how-to videos are huge. And that only applies to certain corporations, but you guys have, I think, seen my tips online, and I sit in my office and do little how-to tips in terms of how to become a better public speaker or how to better market yourself that I, plaster all over my social media. Well, those don't have to look extremely professional because you're just telling somebody this is how you do something.
Yeah.
So those you could potentially set up a camera. So it really depends on the kind of video that you're doing. If you're just doing a quick hit on social media that's going to be like your daily tip or a quick how-to video, you could potentially put those together yourself. If you are really looking for a video to brand and market your company that you want to use over and over again, that isn't just posted one time, I would say you need to look at using a professional company because you want to make the best first impression you can.
I agree. The brand is everything. So if your video doesn't look professional, isn't shot in the right way, has some weird editing going on, or even just the wrong soundtrack, that's a really big, significant hit at your brand. Whereas, as you say, those personal how-tos, it's more about you as an individual. It's a thought leadership. It's showing your expertise, your knowledge. So, yeah, you can do those fairly easily yourself. I mean, there's a lot of good and bad about having video on your phone, but if you use the right apps, there's plenty out there from Adobe and others that you can edit and cut a video very easily just using your phone. And for the most part,
and with that, so I'm going to give you some tips on that. Number one is, if you are doing something yourself, make sure that you've got decent lighting. I've seen some that are, you can set up a generic, not like a light, like a lamp, but you could find cheap lighting, just something where you could put some lighting, so that you make that look good, that you're in frame properly. That's important, that the audio is good. These days you can buy cheap little mics for your cell phone, probably $10 on Amazon, to make sure that your audio is good. One of the other things that's super important, whether you're doing a professional video or a personal video, is to use subtitles, because people often watch these videos without having the audio on. They're watching them at their office. They don't want to have the audio up. And so make sure that you're using subtitles in videos to reach more people as well. So those are some quick tips I would give about that. And then the other thing is, think about and focus on your audience and what they want. And this, again, is whether it's a professional video or a personal video. Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people talking about what they think is important, and they fail to think about what their audience wants to hear and what they want to learn about.
That's so interesting. I think that happens so often. I see with videos where
it does.
It's well intentioned, but it completely misses the mark with the substance of the video.
Yeah, I agree. That's such a good point. The content of your video, making sure it meets your audience needs, making sure that it's really speaking to them, not just about you. I've said this to clients over the years. Your website, in this case, wherever we was doing a website, it's not about you. It's about what your customers want to see of you. And then they will make a decision as to whether they want to go further into that experience or not. Video is the same. It's not about, you're there, yes, they get to know who you are, but the content of that video has to be poignant to them. It has to speak to them.
No, that's so true. Go ahead, Wendy, sorry.
And it really does speak dividends. Like, again, every week I post, you can follow me on social media, Wendy Saltzman or Wendy Saltzman, Philly Power Media. And every week I post videos with how-to tips. Now, those aren't saying, come buy my product, come work with Philly Power Media to create videos. But what it is giving potential customers useful information for themselves, and that pays dividends. I can't tell you how many times I've gone out and people have said, I love your weekly videos, I love your videos, and I take those tips and I use those tips. And so giving back to your customers by giving them information and things they can use. This is if you're doing a bunch of videos, or even just doing posts on social media. Give people things they can use, because then they're more likely to follow you. They're more likely to interact with you. So when you do post things that are promoting your business, it's going to come through their feeds. So you really have to think about, how can I give back? And in a way, you're still promoting your business by doing that.
Yeah, that's great advice.
And I have one more thing. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
On the tip, is to keep it short. When people go on and on, all that's going to do is make people tune out. So videos can be as short as 30 seconds. Yep. You only have 27 seconds to gain your audience's attention. By 27 seconds, they decide, is this person providing me with useful content or not? And if you're not, they're going to tune out and they are going to move on. So by that amount of time, you have to have engaged them. So a video can be as short as 30 seconds. I usually say, a minute for a quick tip. If you're doing a branding video for a company, I target a minute and a half. Yeah. People have short attention spans. So make sure, if you see somebody and they've got a rambling 5-minute video, people are going to tune out by that time. The only exception to that is if you're doing live video. Live video, you do get engagement further on. But if you're doing videos that are just posted videos, try to keep them to 1.5 minutes max. If it's a quick tip, 1 minute maximum.
Yes, great advice. And again, that's advice we've given out on the show as well. And in our own videos, I know we're guilty of going over on that sometimes, but we try to keep it down to that minute, 30 seconds. And here's a really good point that if you look at digital TV ads nowadays, and you're watching Hulu or whatever channels you or whatever subscription service you use, all of their ads are now 30 seconds long. That's because everyone's expectation is, or attention will only last that long. And so they've learned from the digital world how to serve the audience. Yeah. So,
I guess that's a great point. And a lot of times, I guess the key would be to break something into smaller, bite-sized, manageable topics. And so I guess just real quick, can you give any great advice for business owners? I too often hear, well, I don't know, I wouldn't even know where to start, or what kind of topics would I even talk about? And Wendy, any thoughts on the type of topics business owners should be covering to kind of get started?
Absolutely. And one of the things, not to, toot my own horn or say you've got to go with a professional company to help you with this, but that is part of what I do, is I sit there, and for me, I send out questionnaires to clients to figure out the points they're trying to get across. And then we figure out what are the important things that you need to say, how you stand apart from your competition in order to find those quick topics. Because correct, you want to stick to one topic per video. Again, unless it's just a general branding video of your company, and then that is what that video is about. But you really need to think about what's unique about your company. Why would customers want to use you? So is there something that's unique about you as the business owner? Is there something that's unique about the product that you're selling? How does it stand apart from the competition? So those are the things that we really like to look at, is those key nuggets that make you stand out apart from the competition. But agreed, you need to try to focus on one topic per video in order to not bog people down with too many concepts.
Agreed. Yeah. Again, with that attention span being so small, the moment you skip off of that topic, it's gone. And so you want to stay very much on task. So here's another thought. For our listeners are thinking about doing a branding video, what kind of budget would you set aside for, let's say, 150 employees software company? What sort of budget would they be looking at to do a branding story?
Sure. Well, it can range from $1,000. I'm sure there are companies out there who maybe would do something like that for $1,000 to $10,000 or more, depending. And so what you need to do is really make sure that you're finding a reputable company to work with. Philly Power Media, we have 5 stars. Our clients love us. We're going to do a good job for you, because you don't want to be the person who skimps and says, I'm going to pay $1,000, and then you hate the video, which again has happened over and over again. So find a reputable company, and then a lot of it also depends. But plan on a couple $1,000. I mean, I would say one video, if it's going to be a branding video, will run you between $3,500 to $5,000. Now, if you're doing a bunch of videos, that price could come down per video. Yep. So maybe you say, listen, I'm going to do 3 short videos, then that's going to, that price can come down. And I'm not quoting for all businesses, because it depends. I mean, I utilize photographers that have 17 plus years of experience. You need to think about, who are they working with? Are they working with college graduates that, are working at minimum wage? Yep. Because you are going to get what you pay for. So you just need to be aware of that. Make sure you've seen the quality of work that the company has done. Make sure that you know what their experience is, and that you're going to be happy with the end product. Because let's say you want drone shots. Drone shots are going to run you more. So a lot of our customers, we include drone shots in there. So, how many people are going to be talking? Are you going to have, 10 quick interviews? Well, that's probably going to be overload. You probably just want to have a couple primary people. How many what I call beauty shots are you doing of that group? Because if it's just you on camera, listen, it's going to be pretty boring. It's going to be cheaper.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different elements that go into it. But I would say, make sure you're working with a reputable company, and you are free to, of course, get different estimates from different people. Just really understand that you are going to get what you pay for. And the people who have been doing this for years, who have quality photographers and editors and staff, are probably going to be more expensive. But again, you only have one chance to make a first impression. You want to do this correctly.
No, that's really great. And I do have a question. Where do you see that it tends to fall short when people try and go on the, overly budgeted route? Is it poorly shot, poorly edited? Is it a combination of both? Or,
everything you can think of. And I'm sure, because you probably see videos. I've had people that have come to me after having bad videos and they've shown me theirs, or I've had people who have said, you're too expensive, and then I've seen the videos they've created and they're awful.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time it can be content. So, Philly Power Media, we're not just a video production company, and we're not just a marketing company. We are a video marketing company. So we help you from conception to shooting everything to close, to getting you that finished product, and then we teach you how to use that video to get the most eyeballs on it, how to post it on social media, how to use it on your website. So it can be, sometimes content is horrendous, and I see that a lot when people are trying to do things on their own, because again, they're not focused on the audience, or they're just trying to get the words out. When people try to shoot things on their own, they can look like they're running a company out of their backyard.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of that, of the video quality, the editing quality, and the content itself. And lighting again is so important. We light up a room when we do shoots, and we're not just sitting there with overhead lights on and taking a cell phone or a camcorder. We've got professional photographers with all the equipment to make everything look beautiful.
Yeah, and so here's an interesting thing. You use photographers to do your videos.
Mm-hmm.
That I've been saying this for years. So I find that photographers take the best videos because they know what makes a great shot. I've seen a lot of great directors that do videos, but they don't necessarily make great cameramen. So again, even that subtle difference, photographers do know what makes a beautiful shot. They know how to set it up. They know how to tweak the lighting, and transitioning that into video is really just, it's a natural progression. So again, if you are considering a company, ask those sort of questions, like, what's your cameraman's background? Is he part of your company, or is he an external resource? These are all great kind of things you can ask when you're thinking about using a company.
Oh, I completely agree.
We talked about how these videos and how they are important they are in building the trust of a consumer. Well, how much trust do you think a consumer is going to have in your company if what they see is a very poorly made product in terms of the video? That's going to translate into their opinion of your company. So I really say do it right. And again, maybe you start with one and you say, okay, let me see how this works for me. But I think there's no point in doing it if you're not going to do it right, because you want the consumers to buy that product. And social media today says 64% of consumers are more likely to buy a product when they've seen video. That attests to the importance of video. It attests to how it builds that trust. It's a touch along the way. They say you have to touch somebody 7 times before they buy something. Well, that's a very personalized touch. But if it's done poorly, then the impression people are going to have is that this isn't a quality product because it's not being advertised in a quality way.
Agreed, and that touch is so important, because that's going to make or break this relationship. You're either going to build one or not. So and it starts. I can attribute this to the quality of your logo, the website that you create, the content that you have on your website. Is it well written? Is it too lengthy? Is it bite-sized? You start building in video and everything, you get this complete surround sound. Your brand comes across much more professionally than you don't look like Joe Schmo in his basement or in his backyard running a business. So video is a critical part of it, and it plays a huge part in the overall business infrastructure, making sure your branding's good, your materials, your letterheads, your emails. Don't send out emails with happy faces on it to customers. Simple tips like that. It's strange. I still get emails that have typos in it from people that are trying to sell me something, and I'm like, no way, that's done.
No, I think that's a great point, Wayne. And you know what? Something I want to touch on that Wendy mentioned was, if you're going to invest the money in creating, a professional video, what are some tips, Wendy, for advertising? Because too often I feel like business owners they pay for a professional video, and then they just don't maximize, this awesome product they paid for. And what are some tips for social media or advertising and maximizing the use of it?
Well, and you only do get as much value out of it as you use it. So if you're not utilizing that video, then you're not going to get many clicks on it. So number one is social media is huge. So on social media, a video is going to get 1,200% more shares and clicks and likes than text and pictures alone. So post it on social media. Ask your friends to share it, and ask them offline. On Facebook, don't say, hey, can you share this? Because once Facebook reads the word share, it says, you know what, that's inorganic, and it decreases. It won't put it in their algorithm as often. So you know what, get your different, if you're in a business, have everybody in that business, you know what, we're going to launch this video on this day. Everybody, please share it on this day. One of the things that I love to do on different social media is, if you get a lot of engagement, save a couple of the comments. Make sure you're interacting with people. You don't want them just to say, hey, love the video, or, ask them a question. That's the other big thing, is ask people a question to get them to engage. So, even if it's as simple as, hey, what do you think? Yep. So people start engaging, then make sure you respond to them. These people want to know that you're listening to them, and not just that they're posting things that nobody's watching or listening to. So respond to them. But I love to then keep a couple of those comments till the next morning. Then the next morning, I respond to one or two of those, and then it pops back up in everybody's feed because I just responded to it. So that's in social media. I would say that is huge. I'm sorry, you had one comment on that?
Oh, no, I was going to agree. So many clients that I've worked with through the years are afraid to make comments. And I'm like, but that's the whole purpose of social media, is to engage. Well, I got 50,000 likes. Well, you got 2 comments. 2 comments is worth more than 50,000 likes. I'm sorry. You need to respond. So I think, unfortunately... Good. Sorry, Wendy.
And then the other thing is, think about the full range of ways you can use these videos. Like I said, website for search engine optimization, huge, huge, huge. You need to post it on YouTube. And again, we work with all of our clients to help them with this. Post it on YouTube, post that YouTube link and the video on your website through that link, because Google likes when you use YouTube. So do that on your website. Use it in email campaign. You're going to increase your click-through of an email campaign by, I think, I've lost track of all of these. I think it's something like 60 some odd %.
Wow,
just by having a video in that email campaign. And one of the things people are doing now is text. When they are sending out text blasts to people, you can use it in a text. So you can use it on your website, you can use it on email, social media, in a text, and then repost it at different times on social media. Not everybody's going to have seen it the first time. So maybe wait a couple weeks, wait a couple months, but use that again and get it in circulation again, and consider buying ads on the proper site for your product, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn, using that video as well.
That's great. Great advice. Yeah, couldn't beat that at all.
No, that's ideal. That's exactly what I would think. Most small business owners miss on, is that you need to have that second half of it after the video is done. You need to have the whole side of promoting it and making it, work for you. Yeah,
I mean, it's worth remembering. It takes 7 hits to get someone's to really buy into the brand. So it's important.
Well,
and it's one way to reach people, and then they see that video. You can actually add a link to videos now so that people can click on it, and then they go to your website. And so that's another, click. That's another way to get them to look at you. So there are so many ways that videos can increase business, and it has a proven return on investment. People are scared to do something that's new, but if you don't do it, video is an expectation expectation now at this point. It's just like having a website. If a company didn't have a website, people thought, is it legitimate? Video has become that expectation. And if you don't jump on that bandwagon, you are going to fall behind the curve of the competition who is making video.
Oh, absolutely. And unfortunately, Wendy, we are coming up to the end of the show. I would personally like to say I could talk to you for hours about this subject. I know Kevin could too. And I'd love to thank you for joining us on the show today. And I'd love to have you back sometime soon too.
Thanks so much. I would love that. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thanks, Wendy. Happy New Year. Well, small business owners, for everyone that just tuned in, that was a great example of the power of video. Look forward to next week where we talk about more ways to accelerate your small business. Till then, this is Wayne and I and the Small Business Acceleration Show. See you next Monday.